And there is another concern stretching along Magazine Street in New Orleans that the entire charm it's known for could be in jeopardy. As Mike McDaniel explains, it all centers around keeping small businesses afloat at a time when many are in danger of closing.
The excitement that typically comes with holiday shopping isn't quite the same this year inside Dirty Coast on Magazine Street.
It's a lot more challenging.
Since the pandemic, owner Blake Haney has had to rethink how he reaches customers to stay in business.
I think there's a major focus right now on buying online, pick up in store.
Like many local business owners along the historic street, Haney is worried about the future, not just at his store, but all along Magazine Street.
The next 6 weeks, I think most retailers, there's a kind of a trepidation to what's going to happen.
The street is known for its local shops, restaurants, and bars. Some closed for good because of the pandemic.
My biggest fear is going to be if rents continue to be at these higher levels, double, triple of what they used to be, locals just simply won't be able to afford it. It'll become chain after chain after chain.
With the holiday shopping season,
this is a crunch time for them.
Danielle Del Sol with the Preservation Resource Center says keeping small businesses in the storefronts on Magazine Street is crucial in preserving buildings, neighborhoods, and a way of life.
So much of our cultural identity is based on this kind of village life that we live, work, and play, all within close proximity.
Since the beginning of November, new coronavirus cases in New Orleans have increased, which, according to the city, is reaching a critical level. If another shutdown happens, more small businesses could close. Thursday evening, a digital panel session helped further the conversation of preservation and local businesses.
There's been so much growth and revitalization along Magazine Street and in the neighborhoods along Magazine Street. It would be truly sad to lose that progress and move backwards.
Back at Dirty Coast, known for printing New Orleans culture on everything from koozies to socks, when any small business closes, there's concern.
There's a certain tipping point that will start to occur when it becomes 25 to 30 to 40% chain businesses. The character of the street will be lost. It could be forever.
Mike McDaniel, Eyewitness News.